Welcome to Mathlink Academy, where we connect the dots. I am Mr. C, and in this particular lesson, we're going to talk about powers and also radicals and radicands in algebra expression and how to simplify that. So let's get started. I believe the best way to do expressions with powers and simplify it is just do an example to show you how to simplify an algebra expression that's raised to a certain power. In this case, guys, we have negative 4x squared, y to the fourth, z. That's one expression. And we're raising all of that to the third power. So how do you simplify that? Well, what you do is you write down negative 4. That's what we have in the parentheses. And we're going to distribute that third power or that cube to each of those particular, in this case, we're going to say terms in the sense of the negative 4, the x squared, the y to the fourth, and the z. So we're going to say this would be a negative 4 to the third power. This would be x squared to the third power. This would be y to the fourth, right, to the third power. And this would be z to the third power. So what I did was distribute this exponent, that third power, to each of those terms there. Now let's actually do it. What is negative 4 to the third power? So that's negative 4 times negative 4 times negative 4. So since we know it's an odd number, we're going to have a negative. 4 times 4 is 16, times 4 is 64, I believe. So we have a negative 64. Now this is x squared times, or a couple ways you can look at it. You can say x squared times x squared times x squared times x squared 3 times. And really, when you think of it like that, it'd just be 2 plus 2 plus 2. 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 2 is 6. Now, a quick way to look at it is when you raise a power to a power, you multiply those two numbers. So this would be x to what is 2 times 3, x to the 6. Same thing here. This would be y, and what is 4 times 3 is 12. And then there's invisible 1, so this would be z times 1 times 3, which is 3. We still have one term. Our final answer would be one term, but this would be our final answer. A negative 64, x to the 6, y to the 12, z cubed as our final answer. Now let's do another problem with powers, but in this case, notice the difference. We have two terms. Before we had a one-term problem raised to a power. Now we have two terms, raised to a power in this case. Here's our two terms. Now remember, when we square it, it's basically saying this. This is equal to 3a plus 5b cubed times itself again. 3a plus 5b cubed. Please put a note of this. This is very important what I'm about to tell you. When you have this square and you have more than one term, you do not distribute this here and distribute that, and that'll be your answer. You do not do that. You write how many times that particular exponent is and then do the work. Please note that. So this has two terms. So you're gonna have to treat that as one expression with two terms. The square means you just write the base out twice like I did here. Okay. Now, to do a problem like this, we're multiplying, again, we're multiplying two expressions with two terms. So what method you think we're going to use for this one? If you saw some of my past videos, it's going to be the FOIL method. That's correct. First, outer, inner, last. So let's do that and see what we get as an answer. So in this case, this problem, you do the FOIL method. So our first would be the 3a and the 3a. That's our first in this particular case. So this would be 3a times 3a, which is equal to 9a squared. Our outer, like outer, in this case, would be the 3a, that's out, the outside, and the 5b cubed. So we do 3a times 5b cubed. This would equal to 15, is that correct? ab cubed. Okay. Let's do the inner piece. I'm going to do it in light green. The inner is the 5, 3b, and the 3a. So let's write that down. So this is 5b cubed times 3a. This gives me 15a. I like to write the a first because there's a and then b cubed. And then the last. Again, we'll keep it with the light green. The last would be this 5b cubed, and the last of this one will be 5b cubed. Let's write that down and multiply it. 5b cubed times 5b cubed, which is equal to 25b to what power? And that's right, to the 6. So what we end up here with 9a squared, okay, plus 15ab cubed plus 15ab cubed plus 25b to the 6. Now, before you circle it, you got to see, are there any like terms? So we got an a squared for the first one. We got an ab cubed for the second. ab cubed, and that should be 15. So let's not make that mistake. Should be 15 in front of that one. And then a b to the 6. So we do have a like term. If you notice it, our like term are the middle terms. So we need to add those two, combine it to get our final answer. So our final answer will be, and I'll put it up here, 9a squared plus what? 30ab cubed plus 25b to the 6. And then you circle that, and that's your final answer for that problem. Now let's talk about roots a little different. Let's talk about roots. So in this particular problem, they're still like powers, but it's written a little differently. You can look at roots of being powers too, but in this case, we're having the cube root of 27, ab to the b to the 6, c squared. So what I would do, since there's only one term, this is one term, I'll take the cube root of each of those. Now, the cube root can be written basically as to a 1/3 power. That's basically a saying. So a couple ways I'm going to clear the screen and show you how you can write this. This can be equal to 27 a b to the 6 c squared to the 1/3. That's what the cube root means. So rewrite it in the way we did it earlier, like a power, and then use that 1/3 to each of those components. So watch, I'm going to write this. So this will be 27 to the 1/3. You just got to figure what that is. A to the 1/3. B to the 6 to the 1/3. And then C squared to the 1/3. So that's one way to look at it. There's many different ways to look at it, but that's one way to look at it. So 27 to the 1/3. So we got to see what is the cube root, because that's the same thing saying the cube root of 27. I believe it's 3. So this would be a 3. And it'd be a to the 1/3. So just leave a to the 1/3. There's no multiplying, just a to the 1/3 power. In this case, again, this is b to the 6, and we raise it to the 1/3. You multiply the exponents. So 6 times 1/3 is really like 6 divided by 3. So this would be b squared. And the last piece is 2 raised to the 1/3. So what is 2 times 1/3? And we multiply fractions, it'd be 2/3. So there's many different ways we could do this and do the problem and write our answer. So let's see how we have this. So we have 3 a to the 1/3 b squared c to the 2/3. So that's one way to write it. And there's a lot of different ways you can write this particular problem's answer out with these 1/3. If you don't like the 1/3, you could change it back to the cube root. Again, the cube root is equal to the 1/3 power. So another way to write the answer, you can write it like this, and I'll change the color so you can see some different ways we could write this answer. Let's use red. We can see about this a to the 1/3 and c to the 2/3. So what I'm going to say here, as I underline what's in red, I'm going to kind of combine them since they have the same fraction of a third. So another way to write this answer, we could write down 3. The 3 is okay, and the b squared is okay. You agree with me? It's those other two that we have. And so it's really can be written like this. This would be the cube root times the cube root of a and c squared. That's that red piece that I did, underline. So that's another way of looking at it. And we can get into more detail of how did I write that like that. Again, it's the cube root of a. A is the first power, and that c squared over 1/3 is the same thing as the cube root. And so those are two different ways we could write our answer. Let's look at another problem with our roots. I'm going to change up a little bit. Let's use the 4th root. So I'm going to create a problem. So let's say we have the 4th root. That's the 4th root. Okay. We have 16. Okay. A, B, and C. Now let's put powers or exponents with A, B, and C to see how we can do this. So let's say this is 6. This is A to the 4th, B 12, and then let's say this is C to the 16th. And this is all under the radical. So another way of looking at this, I'm going to write it for you, is 16 A to the 4th, B squared, B to the 12th, C to the 16th, raised to the right 1/4. That's another way of saying the 4th root is 1/4. So what we do is we distribute that 1/4 to each of those components. So that's 16 to the 1/4. We have A to the 4th to the 1/4. B 12 to the 1/4. And C 16 to the 1/4. Do those individually. So 16 to the 1/4 is going to be, in my case, if I'm not mistaken, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. I think what number? I think 2 will work there. This A to the 4th times 1/4. Since there's a power raised to another power, you multiply 4 and 1/4. So 4 times 1/4 is just A to the first power. Do the same thing here. B, it'd be 12 divided by 4, which would be 3. And C would be 16. And 16 times 1/4, or 16 divided by 4, which is 4. And so this would be my final answer. 2ab cubed c to the 4th. If you have any other questions, please look at this video again and also go to our website, our Mathlink website, and look at our supplementary materials. Again, let Mathlink bring it together.